Welcome back. It's the Avid Investor Podcast with me, your host, Josh Adamek. And here we are, episode 63. And today I'm going to talk about I'm going to teach you how to make $1 million investing in real estate part time. So now that I have your attention here, I'm assuming this is an attention grabber. I'm gonna break it down for you. So first off, let me start by saying or reinforcing what I talk about quite often, and the fact that investing in real estate properly is a long-term play. That's how you build true wealth and create something very special in real estate, and that's over the long term. So, but I wanted to break it down. So. This is a simple model that, if followed, can be done part time. And again, it's long term, but it can be done part time and produce real results. Real results. When I say real money, real cash flow, real equity, real net worth. So it's pretty simple. When you get involved in real estate investing, and a lot of people, you see all these all this crap all over the internet about do this, do that, get rich quick, blah 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 blah. I'm going to be the first to tell you, not the first to tell you, but I'm going to tell you, definitely not the first to tell you. I'm going to remind you that real estate investing in real estate properly is not a get rich quick event. I'm not even going to call it a scheme. It's not a get rich quick. It's a get rich if done properly. If you're getting the right property types, if you're using the right strategies, following the systems, following the process, investing in real estate is a way to build true wealth. And for us, I'm going to break the model down that we do to where you can do it part-time and create something very, very special. So, not everybody has the desire to build, a massive portfolio and have hundreds of houses, thousands of units, and a whole office, staff, people on payroll, and be in this day in and day out. However, a lot of people have the desire to supplement their income, supplement their retirement, eventually replace their income through invest through real estate investments. So this model, this strategy that I'm going to talk about today will help you do exactly that. And keep in mind, I got nothing to sell you here. I'm just providing information. So just to break it down, if you would like to make $1 million in real estate, it's simple. It requires work, but the strategy, the model is very, very simple. So what you do is you buy one house a year for 10 years, and that's it. Anybody can do that. Just about anyone can do that part-time with a full-time job, with a family, with kids, whatever. You can buy one house a year for 10 years. So what you do is you go out, and when I say one house a year, my bread and butter is, we call it regular houses, regular neighborhoods that provide real results regardless of market conditions. So I'm a big advocate for B-class neighborhoods, median price points for your area, whatever area that is. For us in Pittsburgh, that's like your $150,000 neighborhoods, the B-class neighborhoods, the working class neighborhoods. We call them grandma houses. We buy a lot of grandma houses. If you're from Pittsburgh, chances are pretty good that you know what a grandma house is. It's your 1950s, 60s built brick ranch or two-story in a regular neighborhood. And when I say a regular neighborhood, I'll just throw out some areas that we invest in. So for us, that would be, we have a fair amount of holdings out east, in Verona, better parts of Penn Hills, Monroeville, Murraysville, out into West Mifflin, parts of Homestead, some city neighborhoods. We go into Brookline, Beachview, some Dormont properties, a little bit further out into the South Hills, into Bethel Park, into Cannonsburg. We go out north. We're into Baden, Beaver, those types of neighborhoods. We have some stuff. We invest in Bellevue, Avalon, Westview, some in Ross Township. So those are some examples of the Pittsburgh market, what we consider B class neighborhoods, just regular median price point houses for your area. So if you want to invest in real estate part time and build up we're using the example of $1 million portfolio. I'm going to break it down for you. True $1 million to be made in real estate. So go buy one of those houses per year for 10 years. And we use the example of, $100,000 house, when in reality, the market now, we're up from that. So your $100,000 house is now, 150, but we're going to be conservative. And just for this conversation, we're going to use the example of $100,000 house. So year one, go buy your first property and, learn the process. You got to find the property. You want to buy it. You want to be max all in 70% of the after repaired value. So if you're going to buy $100,000 house, your goal is to be all in for 70 grand. That's purchase, renovations, closing costs, everything. All in 70% max ARV. So how do you find those houses? I'm going to go through this for you step by step. We got a little bit of time here. So how do you find those houses? You can go on the MLS, you can get a real estate agent, you can see what's out there. For us, the majority of the properties that we buy come off market. We source them through direct marketing. We have some wholesalers that we bought from in the past. And really, your best place your best way to source these properties off market is to join your local RIA, in my opinion. Your local RIA or local networking group. There's a lot of stuff online now, a lot of social media groups. There's Pittsburgh Real Estate Investors. There's like 18,000 members there or something. A lot of nonsense in there, but there's some good players as well. So you got to get yourself connected with the right people. For me, when I was starting, I joined Acre of Pittsburgh. That's the local RIA here in Pittsburgh. They've been around for like 30 years. They're still there. I think the website is acrepgh.org. So get to those meetings. You want to learn about real estate, get to those meetings, get to an Acre meeting, join your local RIA, find a local RIA that's a subchapter of national RIA, and get yourself in that room and surround yourself with those people. Because if you're going to be in real estate, you got to learn the process. You have to understand the process. So you got to find them, you got to underwrite them, you got to fix them, you got to fill them, you got to manage them. There's a lot when it comes to, there's a lot of different steps and a lot of things that you got to follow. A lot of rules, regulations that you have to understand when you're investing in real estate. This isn't like, set it and forget it type of thing. And I'm talking, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking that you're going to be an active real estate investor. If it's part-time, you're active, you're the owner operator, you're going to do the leasing, you're going to do the management. And that's why I stress, if you're going to be active, you want to be in the B class neighborhoods. You don't want to be in the C's. You don't want to be in the A's. You want to be right in the middle there in the B class neighborhoods. Why is that? Because C's, you're dealing with, low income, subsidized housing. There's, while C properties look phenomenal on a spreadsheet, because you can buy a house for, we used to buy C class houses that were livable for, $10,000-$20,000 that would, rent for $600-$700 a month. And that stuff looks amazing on a spreadsheet, but when it comes to real world, your management, you got a higher turn, you got to really, watch who you're moving into these houses. And I'm not saying that there's no good residents in C class housing. There are, but the majority is that, you deal with a lot of problems there. You get really expensive turnovers. You get constant turnovers, things like that. A neighborhoods, the real estate, I mean, it costs more. It doesn't cash flow. Homes are bigger, they're more expensive, the expectations are higher. And if you own those properties and you go to turn those, super expensive, and your cash flow is little to none, if any. It's not uncommon for A neighborhoods, A rentals to negative cash flow, which we don't need to do that. We don't need to invest in negative cash flow properties. So again, we go right in the B class neighborhoods, B median price points for our area. So we're just going to say, that's $100,000 house for this example, but you can do the math. You can bump it up to 150, 175, whatever. So anyways, go buy your first house. One house your first year. That's it. I'm not telling you to go out and set the world on fire and buy 50 houses or 75 houses. I'm not telling you to do a fund or a syndication and you got to go out and buy, all these properties. I'm telling you to buy one house your first year as an active investor. Learn the process, join your local RIA, learn the municipality requirements, the leasing, the landlord tenant act, fair housing. I mean, you want to learn and understand all that. And you can do that part-time with buying one house. So for this example, we're going to buy one house your first year, one house your second year, third year, fourth year, all the way. We're going to buy one house a year for 10 years. And we're buying these houses below market and they're going to cash flow. So your $100,000 house in our area in Pittsburgh, that's, anywhere from, $1,200 to $1,400 a month on the rental. So let's call it $1,200. From that, you got your taxes, your insurance, and your cost there. So let's say, and then you're likely going to have debt service because you're building your portfolio. So what you want to do that first year, that first house, buy it, fix it up, lease it out, and set it up for rapid pay down. This is the key. Rapid pay down. So you want to try to pay off that first house in 10 years. And we're not going to be making any cash flow. We're going to dump our cash flow right back into principal pay down on the loan, assuming you have a loan. And we're going to do that your first house, your first year. Year two, do the same thing. Buy your second house, fix it up, get it fixed up, fill it, get a resident in there, an occupant, lease the home out. And same thing, if you need to refinance it or whatever, don't pull cash out. We're not pulling cash out. This isn't the all over the internet, the buy, rent, refinance. I buy a house, I refinance it and suck out $30,000 in equity. We're not doing that because we're building real wealth here, right? So we're gonna buy them, we're gonna fix them up, we're gonna stabilize them for as little money as we can in the property, and we're gonna set them up for rapid pay down. So you're gonna do one house your first year, your second house your second year, your third house your third year. And if you can shorten up that time frame, good for you. But this is part-time. I'm setting an example that anyone can do in this business. Just about anyone can do in this business part-time with a job, with a full-time job, with family obligations, whatever. One house your first year, second year, third year. Do that for 10 years. Now 10 years, you've got 10 houses that are true, solid investments in B-class neighborhoods, in median price points. And when I say that because B-class median price points have real value, and over time, they increase in value. But we're not doing an appreciation play here. This is not an appreciation. That's the icing on the cake. That's the freebie that we get, the appreciation. So one house a year for 10 years. Set them up with rapid pay down. Your cash flow goes right back into principal pay down. Your positive cash flow goes into your principal pay down, and you set this model up so that year 11, if you can do a 10-year payoff on your debt, year 11, your first house is paid for. Year 12, your second house is paid for. Year 13, your third house is paid for, and on and on and on. So over the course of 20 years, and again, this is supplementing your income. You're doing this part-time. You're not investing in this real estate to go buy toys or to go buy, to go buy a bigger home or, to make extra money. This is a long-term play. We're building up $1 million portfolio that's going to be free and clear in, a relatively short period of time. So, and a short period of time, we're talking, in 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, up to 20 years, you're going to be paying these homes off. So you get Year 11, your first house is paid off. Year 12, your second house is paid off. Year 13, your third house is paid off. And you go up to year 20. Now, 20 years out, you have 10 free and clear homes that are true B solid investments, B class neighborhoods. And when we started this, they were $100,000 houses, right? So, year 20, you have all these homes paid for, which is now $1 million net worth, liquid net worth. I mean, that's real. When they're paid off, that's real money. That's real money. These homes are now worth $1 million. When in reality, this is what we're talking about. But I'm keeping this simple. You've got your $1 million worth of free and clear real estate that you now own. Now, in addition to that, you've paid them off, so you have no more debt service. What do you have? You have taxes, you have insurance, you have some maintenance. And over that 20 years, you've also had appreciation and rent increases. But we're not talking appreciation right now. So if you talk about your rent increases, I'm not going to do the math here, but we typically raise our rents $50 every year per month. So you can do the math later on, but let's just say that now these homes are free and clear. You got $1,000 per month. This is super conservative. You've got $1,000 per month net cash flow after you pay your taxes and your insurance. And you're not going to be paying in utilities. Your residents are going to be paying the utilities, but taxes and insurance. You've had your rent increases. So let's just say the spread over $1,000 covers that. Because your rents are probably going to be in the 14, 15, 17, $1,600 a month range, depending on how you did your rent increases. So you got $1,000 a month net cash flow per property times 10 properties. That's $10,000 a month cash flow, $120,000 a year off of 10 little houses in B class neighborhoods that you've done part-time. They're free and clear. You own them free and clear. That's $1 million net worth that you now have on your balance sheet. So if you start this, whenever, let's just say you're like me, 40 some years old, right? I'm 43. So you start this when you're, 35, 40 years old, say 40 years old, and now you're 60. Now 60 years old, you've got $10,000 a month cash flow and $1 million worth of real estate that you own free and clear. In reality, that's going to be $2.5 million, maybe $3 million in real estate, depending on where we're at in the market cycle. But, if you factor in your appreciation, if we've had some bigger rent bumps, you might be 12 or 15,000 a month in net cash flow, but you're going to have a minimum base of 10,000 a month in positive cash flow off of 10 little houses, buying one house a year for 10 years. And I wanted to talk about this on specifically because, we have an Avid Management Group. We have a large portfolio. We have a team. I have a team. There's a staff here in the office that does, the acquisitions, the management. So this is what we do full time. However, this investing in real estate can be done part-time and can be very, very lucrative if done properly part-time. So if wherever you're at right now, just think about that. Like, let's say you're 25, 30 years old or 20 years old, like when I started in real estate. If you're 25 years old right now and you start buying one house a year for 10 years, if your kids are coming out of school and you want them to you want to teach them this model, or you want them to learn this model. Let's just say your kids coming out of college, they're, I don't know what, 22 when they're coming out of college, 21, 22, 23 years old. So if someone starts this at 22 years old and they do one house a year for 10 years, by the time they're my age, 40, 42, 43, they own $1 million worth of real estate free and clear. And there's 10 to 15,000 a month in net cash flow off of 10 little houses. So how much time does it take to manage 10 houses in B class neighborhoods? Well, I can tell you whatever amount of time it's well worth the 10, 12, 15,000 a month cash flow that you're going to have, the million five in net worth that you're going to have. And that's just one house a year for 10 years. Take that model, take a yellow pad and a pen, take a calculator, whatever. Multiply that by however many properties you think you can handle. If you think you could do two houses a year for 10 years and set it up under this same model, 20 years out, you've got 20 to 30,000 a month, 20, 25, 30,000 a month in net cash flow. You have 2 million to 3 million in net worth, a base of 2 million in net worth, maybe up to 3 million, depending on, where the appreciation falls. And that would be off of two houses per year. And don't get me wrong, I'm not even suggesting that this doesn't require work. It does require work. It requires discipline. It requires effort. It is a lot. It is a lot to take in up here in your head, to put in all this work with no immediate reward. Unfortunately, that's the world that we live in, the instant gratification. Oh, I gotta go flip a house and I gotta go make 20 grand, or I gotta go make, whatever, 30 grand or 10,000. I gotta wholesale a house and I gotta go make a quick $5,000. Well, I'm gonna be the first to tell you that real estate is a long-term play. Can you do those things and still make money? Yes. But as my friends and mentors drilled and beat into my head for years and years and years, it's all about the cash flow. It's all about the long-term play. And again, this is I'm teaching you, and I'm talking about being an active real estate investor. If you don't want to be active, if you don't do the work, if you don't want to do the work, if you don't want to go out, on a Saturday morning and show a house, if you don't want to go out after work in the evening and, meet a handyman or a contractor and do a scope of work, or maybe do some of the work yourself, if you really want to hustle and, keep that basis down, this isn't for you. I mean, this isn't sit on the couch and scroll through Netflix, and then all of a sudden, 20 years out, you've got this portfolio. You got to put the work in, but the work is well worth the reward at the end. And that's the message that I want to try to get across. Twofold. One, it's worth it. I mean, I just broke it down for you. That's as simple and as basic as it gets when it comes to investing in real estate for the long term. You got to put the work in now, and the reward will come later on. If you get into the business and you start doing flips, you start, wholesaling, or, buying and selling as is or whatever, that's okay. That can be done, and that can be very lucrative. However, take those profits, and instead of rolling them into a new boat or, a fancy car or a bigger house, roll those into the long-term investments. I mean, if you want to shorten that window, pay the houses off quicker. Go buy more houses. Go buy 3 a year and build up a portfolio of 30 homes. Pay them off quicker. If you can set it up and you start making these chunks, you buy your one house a year for 10 years, you still got some time left. You want to go do a flip, you want to go do something else, and you got a chunk of money. Look at the ROI. I did a podcast previously on buying down your debt, right? So if you have no personal debt to buy down, you have no car loans, you have no mortgage on your house, you have no credit card debt, and it doesn't make sense to buy down that debt, roll your proceeds and buy down your investment debt and look at the ROI on that. I mean, it's crazy. I'm not going to get into that now because I spent an entire, 30, 40 minutes talking about buying down your debt. You can go back and listen to that episode, but there's no better ROI than more oftentimes than not, there's no better ROI than buying down your debt. But here we're talking about the one house per year for 10 years. So that's it. I mean, that's as basic as it gets. And that's how you build real wealth in real estate investing, is starting today. Take action now. I mean, go join your local RIA, go join, a local group that I'm not telling you to go write a check for $10,000 or $25,000 and hire somebody to be your mentor. I'm telling you to surround yourself with the right people. And more oftentimes than not, a lot of those right people can be found at your local RIA. Find a local RIA that's a subchapter of National RIA. For us in Pittsburgh, again, that would be Acre of Pittsburgh. That's where I started 25 years ago, something like that. I think I started going to the Acre meetings. I think I might have went to my first Acre meeting in 2001. So that's 24 years ago. And I'm still connected with some of those people today. Some of my early mentors that really helped me in the business came from the local RIA. And I was able to go to the RIA. I was able to find some finance contacts, some construction contacts, learn about property management, learn about the ins and outs of the legal. And you have to know and understand all of that if you're going to be in real estate. And again, this model's super simple. Go build $1 million portfolio, one house a year for 10 years. Anybody can do it. Just about anybody can do it. Just about anybody can do it that's willing to put in the effort. And that's where, a lot of people, I say maybe not everybody can do it because not everybody's willing to put in the work. And not everybody has the long-term vision, which is what's 100% required for investing in real estate. It's not instant gratification. It's not get rich quick. It's get rich. It's build wealth. It's build long-term wealth, but it's built over the long term when investing in cash flow properties. And again, the property type is super, super important for us. I'm a huge advocate for B-class neighborhoods, regular houses, regular neighborhoods, not the A's. I own some real estate in A neighborhoods. I own some C neighborhoods that we've had for a long time or we bought for a certain reason. But the bulk of where we're at, majority of where we invest is B-class neighborhoods, regular houses, regular neighborhoods that build real results regardless of market conditions. I can't say it enough. And that's it. That's the model. Breaking it down as simple as I can get for anyone that wants to build long-term wealth in investment real estate. Just go buy one house a year for 10 years. If you want to shorten that up, go buy two houses a year for 10 years. However, if you're new to the business, go through the process. Don't go out and try to set the world on fire and buy, 10, 15, 20 houses your first year. Because what happens if you buy in the wrong neighborhoods? Or what happens if you over rehab? Or what happens if you think it's going to rent here, but it actually rents here? You think it's a $1,500 a month rental, but it's really like $1,100 a month rental. And you went out and bought 10 of those. Or, you're learning how to screen residents, screen tenants. And I'm a big advocate of, you got to manage your own stuff, right? Can you hire a third party property manager? Yes, you can. There's a lot of cost that comes with that. And that cost is going to take away from your principal pay down, your rapid pay down, which is going to throw off the model of paying your first house off year 11, 12, 13, 14, and so on. So it's important, that you learn the process, start to finish, do it yourself. This is as an active investor. If you want to be an active investor, or maybe you don't want to be an active investor, but where you're at financially requires you to be an active investor. That's how you can go out and build $1 million portfolio. And that's just a baseline with 10 houses. I say that because it's easy to, not easy to do, but it's easy to understand. And you may be sitting back listening to this. Hopefully you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, I could do that. I could do that, even with my job, even with my spouse, my kids, even with their baseball, their soccer, their scouts, their this, their that. And I do all that too. So, even with all of that, I think I can still buy that one house a year for 10 years. And I get this. I think it'll work. So, that's on the active side. The alternative with that is if you've already built up your investment portfolio and you want to get the benefits of real estate, but you don't want to do the work, you can invest in real estate passive. I mean, you can invest you can invest in a fund, in a syndication, and you can partner up with someone, and you could be the money the money piece of the equation. There's ways to invest totally passive, if you already have the capital built up and you just want to own the real estate and get the tax benefits, get the long term play, the depreciation, the cash flow, the equity play. There's ways to do that without actually being hands on if you already have that capital build up. So we do that. We own all of our real estate through most of our real estate through equity partnerships, and that's what we do. Talked about it before. Not going to cover it too much on this episode, but this one is specifically how to become an active investor and build up a substantial portfolio on a part-time basis. So that's it. That's all I'm going to cover today. Go ahead. You got any comments? Hit me up. Send me a message, DM. I love hearing the feedback. The feedback's all over the place. It's great. I have quite a few people that message me and tell me about what they liked in the episode, what they heard, what they were able to pull from it. I get some people calling, sending me messages saying like, "Hey, dude, your glasses are crooked, right?" Well, sometimes they are, but anyways. That's that. That's it for today. That was episode 63 of the Avid Investor Podcast, and just talking about building up portfolios and cash flow and net worth. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It requires work. It requires effort. It requires the long-term vision. You got to get rid of that instant gratification and the shiny object syndrome. If you're going to invest in real estate for the long term. But that's all I had to cover for today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know what you liked, what you took from this episode. You got any questions, just hit me up. You got something else you want me to cover, let me know. I'm happy to do it. So thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great day.